Ben Lieber going to be making the hit right here. Ooh. Cousin of our producer, Mike Lieber. Ben Lieber right there with the hit. Mike Seidman getting jacked up. Number 4, Kyle Bowler. Are we surprised? Throwing the Alan Ricard on the outside. Oh, getting spiked by Takeo Spikes right there. Just take one more look at the replay. Alan Ricard got jacked up. Number 3, Aaron Brooks to Joe Horn. Joe Horn actually sees this hit coming by Ray Buchanan, tries to duck out of it, doesn't quite get out of it. Michael tells us you always have to know where the safety is.
No, he didn't go to bed.
They take Joe Horn off because he got jacked up. Number 2, Jake Delhomme making this list plenty too much.
Man.
Kerry Colbert, Quentin Jammer with the hit. You never want to lead your receiver into a hit like that. Oh, Kerry Colbert, go talk to him because you got jacked up. And number 1, Jeff Welker trying to get to a right return. Bryce Fisher following.
Time right there.
This is not only worth 1 replay. It's not only worth 2 replays. It's not only worth 3 replays. It's worth 4 replays. Bryce Fisher got jacked up.
By a guy named Bua. I'll just say Bua. All right, time for the lead pipe lock standings. We all won last week.
We're all going to win this week.
There we go.
But Jaws has won 4 or 5.
2-game lead. I like
that.
But at least we're all on the roll. We are all
That's
on
right.
the roll. So let's go, Jaws. Who's your pick tonight?
Well, my deep analytical analysis, my daughter loves the Broncos. Jolene, this one's for you. I'll go with the Broncos.
Well, you know what? Carson Palmer's at quarterback. Just a young guy. He'll learn. He'll be great. I'm taking Denver right now.
You had to mention that, too.
I gave it to you.
Let it go. Let it go.
I am a Bronco.
But you live in Cincinnati.
I am a Bronco. Broncos.
Going with the Broncos. I, too, going to the Broncos. We all went the same thing last week. Now, this is like calling 2 plays in the huddle. We're just going to peek ahead to next week because we have the Jets and the Dolphins. Anybody want to throw the picks out right now?
The Jets.
I'll take the Jets.
Hey, you know, I love the jacked up hit, though, because you know what? It was the Dolphins. It goes to show you how hard guys
That's
play.
right.
It doesn't make any difference.
Didn't have a win.
Passion for the game.
That might have been the jacked up.
That was the jacked up hit of the year so far.
Now, last week I asked you all, is there any way Tampa Bay could win this game? And you said no. They almost
And then we went home and sweated it out. That's right.
Talking football, not hope.
Is there any way right now? Is there any
Yes, there is a way Cincinnati can win the game.
There is?
There's a way
What
they
is
can win
that?
the game. They could come out,
might that be?
they could come out, have some success running the football.
Monday night lights. The Broncos remind them what the big time's like. Players and fans, come on, everybody say, Monday night rocks the old US of A. Hit it! Come on and hit it! Come on and get ready! Are you ready for some football? A Monday night tradition! The NFL Big Show, 35th edition! John are ready. The whole country's psyched. All my Reddit friends are here for Monday night.
Welcome to Monday Night Football on ESPN, coming to you tonight from Cincinnati, Ohio. 1999. The last time the Bengals were on Monday Night Football was in 1992, well before Marvin Lewis came, and he's known for his defensive genius that he displayed as the coordinator with the Baltimore Ravens, and he got the Bengals back to respectability last year. Actually had an outside shot of making the playoffs. So this year, it's been a bit of a surprise that they have started off just 1-4, coming in on a 3-game losing streak. A big problem has been the defense of all things, particularly the rushing defense. As you can see, the Steelers running all over them in week number 5 in a 28-17 loss. Jerome Bettis, Deuce Staley just pounded them earlier in the year. Back in week 1, the Jets ran all over them with Curtis Martin. Looked like he's 10 years younger with his game against the Bengals, and that one going for 100 yards. And that is particularly bad news tonight, that the Bengals' bad run defense is going up against the Broncos. Not only are they 5-1, they run the football as well or better than anybody in the NFL. Reuben Drones is now their starting running back. He has replaced Quentin Griffin, who went down a couple of weeks ago. Reuben Drones is a converted fullback, but you put him behind that Denver Broncos offense, and he is running through holes like it's going out of style. In Week 5 against Carolina, he battered and banged his way 30 carries, 193 yards. And then last week against Oakland, 38 carries for 176 yards, and that touchdown right there. Reuben Drones had carried the ball just 10 times prior to 2 weeks ago. That in this season. In the previous 3 years, only 40 times, and he has carried it 68 times in the last 2 weeks alone for an average of 5 yards per carry. Drones, a converted fullback, just pounding away and making the Broncos almost unbeatable with that tough ground game. And that sure takes a whole lot of pressure off of quarterback Jake Plummer. Plummer coming over from Arizona a couple of years ago, didn't win a whole lot of games with the Cardinals, but he's turned into a big winner in Denver. Their 5-1 record has them first in the AFC West, a game and a half ahead of San Diego. And they are looking to run the ball a whole lot against that Bengals defense tonight when Denver takes on Cincinnati on Monday Night Football, as Jake Plummer and Carson Palmer, the former Heisman winner, go head-to-head. The opening kickoff is coming up.
هل تريد القمر الصناعي توفر لك إنترنت مباشر وغير محدود أسرع ب10 20 30 إلى 50 مرة من الإنترنت العادي حسب رغبتك. لا حاجة لخط أو لدفع فاتورة الهاتف، وبأسعار منافسة لاستخدام غير محدود 24 ساعة في اليوم 7 أيام في الأسبوع مع دعم تقني على مدار الساعة. Orbit Satnet، سرعة لا تصدق.
للمزيد من المعلومات اتصلوا بوكيل أوربت المحلي أو زوروا موقع الإنترنت www.orbitsatnet.com.
Cincinnati Bengals fans hoping that they can see a big upset tonight over the 5-1 Broncos. It's the third straight strong start for the Broncos. They haven't finished the last 2 seasons very well. We'll see if they can keep it going. But a guy that everyone's going to have their eyes on is Carson Palmer. He's a 2002 Heisman Trophy winner, sat all last year and then was given the starting job this year. At times, he has looked very good. He's got Chad Johnson as a big-time weapon to go to. But it hasn't translated into victories, and he certainly has had his share of tough days as well, as any first-year starting quarterback is going to have in the NFL. He's thrown twice as many interceptions as he has touchdown passes, and that is always a problem. His quarterback rating of 59.6 is not the stuff that Heisman Trophy winners dream of. And he will be going against a very tough Denver Broncos defense, a defense that is much improved from years past. John Lynch, the hard-hitting safety brought over from the Buccaneers, is doing his thing in that secondary. And Champ Bailey, remember, they traded Clinton Portis, one of the top running backs in the NFL, for this cornerback, and he has definitely paid dividends. It is a better defense all around. The pass rush is better, the coverage is better, and they're stopping the run better as well. So the Broncos may have the complete package here for Mike Shanahan. A lot of people question how they could give up a guy like Clinton Portis, but their improved defense is definitely making it worthwhile. They are averaging, only allowing 12 points per game, and passing yards given up only 137 per game. That is Champ Bailey and John Lynch right there, plus a good pass rush. Opponents are getting only 87 rush yards a game. So the Broncos defense is starting maybe to elicit thoughts of that Orange Crush dominant defense way back in the 1970s, for any of you who were alive back then. I was. So a good balanced attack now for the Broncos. They've won 4 straight coming in to Cincinnati, where they'll take on a Bengals team that's lost 3 in a row. Something's got to give on Monday Night Football.
أجمل اللحظات الرياضية خلال نوفمبر على أوربت. الدوري السعودي له جاذبية قوية بين جميع عشاق كرة القدم. دوري كرة القدم الأمريكية يزداد منافسة مباراة بعد أخرى. حماس الدوري الهولندي لا يعرف الراحة. أفضل 8 لاعبي تنس يلتقون في الدور النهائي لبطولة الماسترز في هيوستن. الدوري الفرنسي يتجلى في أروع صوره. منتخبات أمريكا الجنوبية تتابع سعيها وراء حجز بطاقتها إلى كأس العالم 2006. نوفمبر على أوربت، عالم من الرياضة.
احنا مش لازم نعمل فيها ابطال.
يعني لما يكون في جريمه وفساد مش هطبطب على حد.
وانت مالك ايه؟ انت اللي هتغيري نظام الكون؟ دي مؤامره علينا ولا ايه؟
هو كده
اهو ده الكلام. مسلسل لقاء على الهواء طوال شهر رمضان، كل يوم في 12:30 بعد الظهر على قناة المسلسلات.
Cincinnati, the Bengals and the Broncos just about ready for the opening kickoff. And this Broncos team, it's hard to fault the Broncos for letting go a talented running back when you can see how many different running backs they have had that have had success within their system. Since '95, the Broncos team has had 70 different 100-yard rushing games from rushers. It goes from Olandis Gary, Terrell Davis, Mike Anderson, Quentin Griffin, and now Ruben Drones. Let's get you out to Al Michaels now for the opening kickoff.
And as we detailed at the top, it's the first time they've been on Monday night since '92. That game was played in Pittsburgh. And the first time they've been at home since 1989, more than 15 years ago at Riverfront Stadium.
So that's why they're so excited here tonight, huh?
Yeah. Every
As you say, yeah, every place you go, I mean, all around town, and this stadium is kind of right in the middle of the town. I think we stayed in a hotel about a block away, and every place you go, they would talk about the Bengals and do they have a chance tonight against the Broncos.
And they'll get the ball first as Mike Ganor puts it in the air, and the kick will come down to about the 10-yard line. Cliff Russell to run it back for Cincinnati, and he gets taken down by Roe Alexander up at the 26-yard line. Let's take a look. Rock Alexander with the tackle. Let's take a look at the Cincinnati offense.
Carson Palmer, SC.
Rudy Johnson, Auburn University.
Jeremy Johnson, Western Kentucky. Chad 7011 Johnson, the Oregon State Beavers. TJ Hushman out of Oregon State. Reggie Kelly, Mississippi State.
Levi Jones, Arizona State.
Eric Steinbach, Iowa. Rich Bray, West Virginia.
Bobby Williams, University of Arkansas.
Willie Anderson, Auburn.
Willie Anderson, his 162nd NFL game and his first Monday night game as Chad Johnson makes the catch. We refer to him as 7-11. He's their top receiver, and he went right at Champ Bailey, and those two will lock up tonight one-on-one a lot.
Yeah, the Broncos are always going to put Champ Bailey on their best receiver. Chad Johnson is the Bengals' best receiver. And you see that little move he made to the outside. He was telling me the other day, the first thing he tries to do is make a corner think he's doing the opposite of what he's eventually going to do.
His 24th catch, he leads the team in receptions. Ball at the 35-yard line, second down and 1. And they give the ball to Rudy Johnson, and the running back picks up 3. First down, 38. Here's the Denver starting lineup.
Marco Coleman, Georgia Tech.
Mario Forte, Kansas State.
Monsanto Pope, Virginia.
Reggie Hayward, Iowa State.
Donnie Sprague, Stanford University. Al Wilson, Tennessee.
DJ Williams, Miami. Champ Bailey, Georgia.
Noy Kennedy, Arkansas.
John Lynch, Stanford University.
Kelly Herndon, Toledo.
#1 defense in the league. And this is Johnson making them look like anything but the #1 defense in the league. Breaking tackles, running hard, gets to the 50, first down Cincinnati.
Yeah, they ran that play to the slot side, and they didn't have any force over there. You're going to see that there's no one playing inside on the slot. So really, when he gets to the outside, right there in that first move, he has a soft corner, and then he can just cut it back to the inside. Pretty good running by Rudy Johnson, but again, not a lot of pressure on that slot side.
From the 50-yard line, back-to-back first downs for Cincinnati to start the game 2 minutes in. Johnson again. And it was Johnson who came to the forefront last year. Corey Dillon had been The Cincinnati running back for years had done a great job with a losing team, and then Dillon got hurt. They gave Johnson a chance. Dillon gets dealt to New England. He's of course very happy there right now, and Rudy's the man here.
You know, and one thing that was very good last year was the offensive line of the Bengals, and this year they've been very inconsistent. Part of it is due to the injuries, but I'll tell you, and Levi Jones, the left tackle, and Willie Anderson, the right tackle, they have two very good tackles.
Kenny Watson is the running back. To fake to him. Palmer throwing, and at the 31-yard line, the pass is on the chalk and out of bounds. Chad Johnson, the intended receiver. Carson Palmer was the #1 overall pick. He grew up in Southern California, went to USC, a school with a tremendous running back, tailback tradition, and then he wins the Heisman Trophy for Pete Carroll. And since he picks him #1, and then last year did not play a single snap. Learned under John Kitna. Kitna had a tremendous year, the best of his career, but then Marvin Lewis said in late winter, I'm giving the job to Palmer. No competition. 3rd down and 5. Carson going deep, and the pass is dropped by Chad Johnson, covered by Bailey. Johnson looking around to see if there'd be a flag. There was none.
The other thing he was doing, he was pointing to his shoulder pad, and you could see his jersey was off the shoulder pad. He was saying that he was being held as he went down. Now that's incidental contact. That's okay. I think he just dropped that ball. It was right in his hands. It would have been a very good catch. Last week, the Bengals dropped 7 passes on Carson Palmer.
Kyle Larson to punt. And it will bounce at the 10, spin sideways, and the Bengals will down it at the 12, and there's a penalty. The penalty flag is down at the 27-yard line.
Chad Johnson sure looks like he was held, though, doesn't he? His jersey's kind of half on and half off and cockeyed there, and when he got up it was that way, but it didn't look like Champ Bailey grabbed him by the shoulder pads.
Bernie Kukar will make the call, said inadmissible evidence.
Illegal block in the back, number 55 of the return team. That's half the distance to the goal. First down.
So 3 minutes into the game, Mike Shanahan's Denver Broncos get it for the first time tonight. Broncos, Bengals in Cincinnati on Monday.
انضموا إلى عشاق سباقات الخيل حول العالم في تكساس لمتابعة أكبر وأعرق أحداث الموسم. أقوى الخيول وأعتد الفرسان في عرضهم الأخير ضمن أهم السباقات ذات أعلى الجوائز على الإطلاق. كأس بريدرز مباشرة من لون ستار بارك السبت في الأوقات التالية على أوربت ESPN.
أنا مش عايزة أقول لك إن أنت كنت السبب في فشل حياتي الزوجية.
عايز أعيش، عايز أتمتع.
أزمة، صحوة.
خطر دي يعني ولا إيه؟
أنا خايفة أوي.
لو حد سأل عليا قولي له في الجنة.
تعيش يا حبيبي بتاخد غيرها.
نور الشريف.
الحق يا ماما. ده فعلا اتهدى.
في مسلسل عيش أيامك كل يوم في 9:30 صباحا على قناة المسلسلات.
مع اقتراب موعد الانتخابات الأمريكية أخذ السيناتور كيري يضيق الهوة بينه وبين الرئيس بوش. السباق متقارب جدا، وما من قناة في المنطقة ستغطي الانتخابات الأمريكية مثل أوربت نيوز. تقارير مباشرة، نشرات متلاحقة، تعليقات وآراء من أبرز المراسلين السياسيين والصحفيين المرموقين. اطلعوا على الصورة الكاملة لهذه اللحظة التاريخية بمصداقية ووضوح مع أوربت نيوز.
Separating Ohio from Kentucky. Denver has the ball. Denver coming in with a record of 5-1, and Jake Plummer to give it to Ruben Drones, and Drones to the 10-yard line as we take a look at the Denver offensive starters.
Jake Plummer, Arizona State. Ruben Drones, Oregon.
Kyle Johnson, Syracuse University.
Rod Smith, Missouri Southern State University.
Ashley Lee, Hawaii.
Patrick Cape, University of Alabama.
It's Ruben Jones again. Here is our offensive line. Matt Leptis, Colorado. Ben Hamilton, Minnesota. Tom Naylor, Boston College. Dan Neal, Texas. And George Foster, Georgia.
The Denver offensive line honoring its tradition of not introducing themselves. It's a good time to do that because they didn't do a very good job keeping Dwayne Clemens and Kevin Casehorn out on that play as Drones is taken down for a loss.
Well, that's what this Bengal defense is doing. They're up there to stop the run. That was a run blitz, and they kind of run right into the blitz. And you'll see George Foster here. He's a right tackle, and watch his block. You see Thornton is going to come in, and he's going to come to the inside and go right inside. Foster didn't expect a pinch by Clemens, and Clemens just pinched.
3rd and 9. Plummer, good protection, throws complete but short of the first down. Ashley Lee makes the catch at the 14, so 3 and out. And the ex-Bronco, Deltha O'Neal, one-time #1 pick of Denver, makes the tackle.
And that's what these Bengal fans wanted, was a 3 and out, keep them down there. Now they're going to get good field position. On their first drive, they weren't bad. I mean, they got a first down, took a shot, and did some of the things that a good offense has to do.
Nice start for the Bengals. As you say, they should get the ball at the 50 or maybe inside Denver territory, depending on the O'Neal run back. Micah North to punt. Drops it. Still is able to get it away. Good kick. Great recovery. Flag is thrown, and the ball will be down at the 45-yard line of Cincinnati, but Bernie Kukar's crew will make the call. The flag is down at the 22. You've got ineligible men downfield in a situation where you're going to drop a ball like that, and you can't expect the guys going downfield to know it.
Right, because they don't look. They're just counting 1001, 1002, 1003, and they leave. And when the ball is dropped, that throws everything out of rhythm. Look, he caught the snap. It wasn't a snap. As he started to step and kick, he just dropped the ball.
Of the kicking team, number 59 downfield. Half the distance. Excuse me. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
So they'll make him kick it again.
I think this time they have to go after him a little more. On any punt return, you have to bring at least 2 guys. One guy from either side to make sure of the kick. And when something like that happens, Cincinnati should have been on top of the punter. Looked like they were all going into a return and turning. They didn't have those 2 guys that have to make sure of the punt. Usually the 2 end guys.
Now Micah North gets it away conventionally, and it's a short kick, and O'Neal will take it at the Denver 45-yard line, but the coverage is very good, but still good field position after the exchange for the Cincinnati Bengals with 9:48 to go in the opening period at Paul Brown Stadium. No score on Monday night.
و62 مباراة في الموسم الواحد. تصفيات المجموعات، منافسات الأقصى، وأخيرا لقاء الخريف الكلاسيكي، نهائيات دوري البيسبول الأمريكي، تبث حاليا على أوربت ESPN.
Kid said, "Hey mom, it's past my bedtime. Well, you got about 3 more hours to go."
And maybe overtime as well. 1st and 10 at the 44-yard line. Cliff Russell goes in motion and then sets in the slot. And Rudy Johnson for a gain of a couple. Tackled by John Lynch. Carson Palmer, as we mentioned, grew up in Southern California, matriculated at USC, and there he is going in for a touchdown against UCLA, rolling to his right, strong arm. And under Pete Carroll, a lot of success. His final game was in the Orange Bowl in Miami, and then came the draft, and there he was accepting the Heisman Trophy in December. The 2002 Heisman winner, and got the start on opening day here, and they give the ball to Russell, and that's a play that doesn't fool anybody as Kelly Herndon smelled it out perfectly and makes the tackle well behind the line of scrimmage for a loss of 8 yards.
Yeah, Kelly Herndon was a corner, and he was on the side of the tight end, and he came on a blitz. So he was coming already, and you'll see him come off this end right here. You see Kelly Herndon coming right there. He's just following that end around all the way because he was called to blitz on that play.
3rd down and 16. Herndon went to college in this state at Toledo. 3rd and 16. Palmer will take his first snap out of the shotgun. Under pressure, steps up, going deep and wide open. Chad Johnson, touchdown. Champ Bailey fell down, and that's why Johnson was that open for a 50-yard touchdown on a 3rd and 16.
And that's the spark that Marvin Lewis was talking about. Chad Johnson is out here in the left-hand side. You'll see him right there, number 24, Champ Bailey on him. Starts to run with him. Champ Bailey's going to fall down right there. And for about 20 yards, Chad Johnson was wide open. Look at this. They get in the shotgun down here. Good protection. Tackles take their guys to the outside. Let Carson Palmer step up.
Good feel in the pocket. Shane Graham for the point after. And the Bengals, who fell behind early last week at Cleveland and lost to the Browns, get off to the hot start tonight. 7-0 Cincinnati.
Welcome to a world where the students become the masters. A world where high achievement isn't just an expression. A world where the stars rise up in the sky. Welcome to the wonderful world of college football on Orbit ESPN.
Getting married is a big step.
Oh my God.
But the biggest challenge
I can't find my underwear. Can I mail them to you? Yes. What is going on here?
is making it to the altar.
Yes, I wanted.
Apologize for the other night. Oh, and for never mentioning that you were marrying my cousin.
If there is anyone here today who believes that these two should not be joined, and it doesn't even have to be a good reason, you know.
It's all about a guy thing. Wednesday at these local times, new and exclusive on Super Movies.
Chad Johnson was upset with himself last week in Cleveland. Said it's as poor a game as I can remember, and he comes back tonight. He catches a pass on their first offensive play, a 50-yard touchdown. He already has 3 catches, and Bailey one-on-one with him, falling down, and it's 7-0.
And John Lynch was really free to help on that play and didn't.
And now a squib kickoff that's going to roll. Oh, you know, you've got Quentin Griffin picking up the ball. It was spinning out of bounds. If he lets it go, they get the ball up at the 40-yard line. But Griffin, maybe thinking that the Bengals were about to recover, was caught between a rock and a hard place on the sideline. Bernie Kukar will tell us about it.
Yeah, that's the tough thing about that, because that is a live ball. Although Quentin Griffin could have just let it go out of bounds. It would have gone out of bounds, but I don't know how much you can rely on that. The other play that he could do is go out of bounds himself and come in and recover it. Then it would have been an out-of-bounds kick.
Exactly. If the ball's in bounds, but any part of your body is out of bounds, it would have been out of bounds. And that is juggled, and the pass incomplete. Intended for Ashley Lalee. Let's take a look at the Bengal defensive unit.
Dwayne Clemens, California at Berkeley.
John Thornton, West Virginia.
Tony T-Bone Crusher Williams, Memphis.
Justin Smith, Missouri. Kevin Hardy, University of Illinois.
Caleb Miller, Arkansas. Brian Simmons, UNC.
Delta O'Neill, Milpitas High.
Kevin Case from Augustana College of South Dakota. Kamani Herring, Penn State.
Torrey James, LSU.
Augustana College, South Dakota. You think of Ken Anderson, the great Bengal quarterback who went to school there. Second down and 10. And this is Drones up to the 26-yard line. Reuben Drones was drafted in the 3rd round by Detroit in 2000. Played at Oregon. On his first ever carry in a preseason game, injures his shoulder, winds up in injured reserve. Comes back the next year, gets cut on September 11, 2001. You bet, that afternoon. Goes to the Dolphins, is on the practice squad, comes back to Detroit, goes to Denver as a free agent, and he's been a fullback and a special teams guy. And then because of the injuries in the backfield, gets the start 2 weeks ago, and he's run wild over the last 2 weeks, 369 yards.
And he's as nice a guy as you're ever going to meet in this league.
He can't believe what's happening to him. 3rd and 7, caught by Drones, but he gets taken down by his ex-teammate, Delta O'Neill. And the Bengals, with this crowd roaring at the beginning of the game, have kept this crowd in the game.
You know, and Mike Shanahan likes to be aggressive on offense, but I'll tell you, this Bengal defense isn't letting him be aggressive. That and the poor field position. Now, there is something with this Monday Night Football and the excitement here in this city, in this stadium, that does rub off on these players.
They put it in neon when that schedule came out. You could just feel it talking to people in town. Monday night comes back to Cincinnati, and they're trying to make the most of it. Micah Norris' kick is a short one, fielded 38-yard line. O'Neill, and O'Neill is into Denver territory. And again, Cincinnati will start with good position on the plus side of the 50. DJ Williams knocks him out of bounds after an 18-yard run back. 6:47 left in the first. Bengals on top, 7-0.
الدوري الهولندي هو الموطن والكرة الشاملة هي المدرسة. هم ابتدعوها وأوربت تنقلها لكم. التغطية الكاملة للكرة الشاملة. الدوري الهولندي يبث حاليا حصريا على الرياضيات.
With a mark of 5-1, the Dolphins going into the Meadowlands to take them on. Miami with a victory yesterday, getting off the schneid. Dave Wanstead went to the back of the playbook and all of the edges as well, and a big win against the Rams. Now Palmer going deep on first down, and that is knocked away. Good coverage, but a flag is thrown. Willie Middlebrooks with the coverage against T.J. Hushmanzada.
Yeah, the Bengals were in 3 wide receivers, so the Broncos were in nickel, and they blitzed both defensive backs from the left side. You know, every time the Bengals are, every time the Broncos are coming on a blitz, the Bengals are going deep. I mean, this is the thing that you want to do. I mean, if you can pick it up, and you're going to see 2 coming from this side. See, there's 1, 2, but they pick it up well. This is where you want to go. You don't want to dink and dunk then. You want to get that ball deep when they do that.
31-yard penalty assessed against Middlebrooks. From the 14-yard line, Middlebrooks coming back from a hamstring pull, and he was on the injury list this week as Rudy Johnson gets taken down by John Lynch. It was a fascinating decision, John, that Marvin Lewis had to make. Kidna had a fantastic year, but you have a guy making $49 million over 7 is what the worth of Palmer's contract was. $10 million signing bonus, and then Marvin had to decide in the offseason one guy or the other, and there's Kidna on the bench.
Yeah, and I think at some point when you draft a guy number one in the draft and give him all that money, you do it to play him, not to have him on the sideline. And ultimately, eventually, you have to get him out there.
2nd and 11. 3-yard game here, Rudy Johnson. But in talking to Marvin Lewis yesterday, and we touched on it at the top, it's not Palmer's fault. He said he's been playing fine. It's a collective thing. We've been inconsistent, but this team in danger of going 1-5 would need, if Palmer didn't have it in the first half, Marvin said he would make an in-game change.
Yeah, and that's a direction that Marvin Lewis doesn't want to go, because that's a tough one. What would you do after you do that? Then where do you go?
Right. 3rd down and 8. They spread it out. Nobody in the backfield. Warwick is in the game. He was questionable before the game with a shin bruise over the last 2 weeks. And the pass is caught by Chad Johnson, who's working again against Champ Bailey, and it's close to a first down. They're going to spot it just inside the 5. It looks to be just a little bit short.
I'll tell you one thing, it was another blitz, but the Bengals are not afraid of Champ Bailey. They're going to get the ball to Chad Johnson, and Chad Johnson has been beating Champ Bailey. I was surprised how far off Champ Bailey was that close to the goal line.
And in this situation, the Bengals at least will line up to go for it. Lewis wants to keep that rhythm going, keep the pressure on. So they eschew the field goal, they go for the first down and don't get it. So it could have been a chip shot 10-0 lead, and instead Lewis figures, you know what, we've got everything going, the crowd is behind us, away we go for it. And the #1 ranked Denver Bronco defense equal to the task. They stop them, they get it back. 4:33 to go in the quarter.
اهلا وسهلا بيكم في ارضي وفي اسواقي. احلى مره في حياتي اسمع فيها اسم.
في حد في المكتب بيخون. ده خاين.
الخيانه دي من ناس تبعك.
مسعد ده بيخونك.
على جثتي لو ده حصل. بلاش العلاقه بيني وبينه تبتدي بقتل.
محمود المصري.
يا ربي. أنا محمود المصري.
موعدكم معه كل يوم في الأوقات التالية على قناة المسلسلات.
The Bengals have owned field position through the quarter, but they go for it on 4th down. Don't get it. It was Al Wilson along with Kelly Herndon and DJ Williams, who were all there to stop Rudy Johnson for no gain. And now Denver takes over at its own 5-yard line. Jake Plummer. Play fake. He does that a lot. Goes deep, and the pass is a little bit underthrown, but caught by Ashley Lilly. Ashley Lilly catches it at the 48-yard line, and in this situation with a 42-yard gain, the Broncos are running up to the line of scrimmage before anybody can look at a replay. Here it is.
And that's what Jake Plummer told us yesterday. He says, we want to do this early. We want to get Ashley Lilly involved in the game early and get the ball to him deep early. So they haven't had a lot of good field position. Oh, I don't know about that one.
Well, and before a replay is even shown, Marvin Lewis, who has a real good view of this because he's standing at the 50-yard line, is going to challenge the call. So a long pass. Kukar comes over, explains what he saw. Lewis, in stopping the clock, is going to challenge the play, and take a look again.
Cincinnati challenging the ruling on the field of a completed catch.
Kukar will go over. He'll take a peek, as will we when we come back. Are still examining it. It's very close because clearly he has control of it. The ball is going to touch the ground here. Take a look. This is the best angle. Controls it. The ball is on the ground. He still is cradling it.
Because if he has control of it, the ball can touch the ground.
Yeah, but I'm looking again here, and I'm wondering if he really does. The ball is moving. He's doing his best to indicate that he has control of it. If I had to guess, I think they're going to call it incomplete. Right there.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, I agree with you. And that's one that Marvin Lewis needs now, because when he went for it on 4th down, you know, he was trying to, you know, keep the momentum going, you know, get one in there, get a 14-point lead, and he figured, if I don't make it, I still have him backed up, and I'm going to get it back.
The receiver did not have control of the ball and hit the ground. Incomplete pass. There's no timeout for Cincinnati. Second down at the 5-yard line.
Successful challenge, which means it doesn't cost him a timeout. And with the new rule this year, he still has 2 challenges. In the old days, circa last year and a few years before that, He only had 2 challenges per game, but he still has his 2 remaining now by being successful here.
And I know that sigh that we just saw from Marvin Lewis, because, you know, you go for it on 4th down and you don't make it. It kind of takes a little air out of you. But you still think, okay, we're still okay because we haven't backed up. And then, boom, they get out to the 50-yard line. That could change everything. His defense has to make a couple of good plays here on 2nd and 3rd down.
Just to clarify a point, with the new rule, he would also have to win his next challenge to get a 3rd. You have to win both. But he's won the first. He's won a big one to erase a 42-yard gain. And on 2nd and 10, the Bengals hot again, so the crowd totally into it. Justin Smith, #1 pick in 2001 out of Missouri, stopping Drones. And Drones tonight, 4 carries, 4 yards.
You know, let's look at that 4th down play again. I know what Marvin Lewis is doing, but he's running right into the strength. Here you got a defensive back here. Kelly Herndon is coming here in the blitz. Everyone is coming in, and they didn't have a chance to make the 1st down. They just watch Kelly Herndon there, 31. They run right into the unblocked blitz.
3rd and 10. Plummer out of the gun. Denver looking for its first down, and it's Rod Smith, and leave it to the veteran in his 10th year now. His first game as a Bronco was Shanahan's first game as the head coach there 10 years ago. 15-yard gain.
Jake Plummer was saying about Rod Smith, he said, you know, he's my go-to guy on 3rd down. And he said, I'm starting to worry about that a little, because people are going to have to figure that out, that I really do it too much. Every time we get in 3rd down and I need a play, I am going to look at Rod Smith. And if you saw Jake Plummer there, he watched Rod Smith all the way.
He's working on the rookie, Mediu Williams, out of Maryland, who comes in nickel and dime. 1st and 10 now from the 20-yard line. And they give it to Darius Watts, good-looking young receiver, rookie out of Marshall, one of their 2nd-round draft choices last April. Went to the same school, of course, as did Randy Moss.
One thing about Watts, like Randy Moss, he has very good speed, and that's the way Mike Shanahan uses a guy with speed. I mean, he'll use him on deep passes like you would expect, but also on end arounds, and any way you can get their ball in their hands so they can use that speed.
You can see coming into the game, the Broncos offense 2nd in the league in rushing. The Bengals were dead last in rushing defense. Plummer rolling after the fake, throwing on the run, and the pass is incomplete. Smith, the intended receiver, covered by his former teammate, Delta O'Neal, 2nd down.
Yeah, I think there's no one that runs a bootleg pass better than the Denver Broncos with Jake Plummer, because they run so well. Now watch that whole line, how they sell that run to the left, but one guy stayed at home, and that's what you have to do away from that run. You have to keep a guy there for containment of the bootleg.
Tony Williams, the defensive tackle, is the injured Cincinnati Bengal. And John, as you mentioned, with Plummer rolling, play action as well on that last play. That's what Denver loves to do. But right now, Williams is the shaken up Cincinnati Bengal at defensive front, featuring a lot of guys who played with other teams. Williams would be one of them, former Viking. Thornton is a former Titan.
I was just saying, watch out. Tony Williams gets it. Number 72, George Foster, is going to come in right there and chop him. That's one of the things. Everyone that plays against the Denver Broncos will always complain about their defensive linemen cutting and chopping your knees.
And they complain because of plays like that. And that's the last sight you want to see, with a cart being driven out onto the field, as we go to Michelle.
Well, I spoke with Rod Woodson, the future Hall of Fame cornerback who played 17 of his 18 seasons in the AFC, faced the Denver Broncos 12 times. I wanted to get his perspective on defending against Denver's running game. And he said, you know, their offensive line, he said, is, quote, borderline illegal because the lateral movement and the cut blocking they do. So he says the guys up front really have to watch out. And if they get cut blocked, boy, they have to get up quickly, get back in their gaps to try to keep a 5-yard gain from turning into a 30-yard gain. But unfortunately, this is one of those results of maybe a cut block, John?
Well, that was a cut block, and And the thing that you can't do, it's a tough thing when you're playing against Denver because you don't want your defensive linemen to worry about it. And I've seen teams play against the Broncos, and defensive linemen are down there and they're protecting their legs, they're protecting their cut, and they're forgetting to make the play.
You know, it's an ironic thing, John, in terms of, and we should point out too, there was no flag on that play, and as you say, it was a cut block. The two offensive lines that people have talked about a lot over the last 20 years were San Francisco in the heyday, and Bob McKittrick became a legendary offensive line coach, the late Bob McKittrick. Alex Gibbs was there for years, kind of a mysterious guy, but did a phenomenal job. But around the league, you know, there's a lot of respect for those people, but those are the two teams, the two offensive lines that were always talked about as guys who chop block and cut block.
Well, what they do is they use a zone run where they're going to kind of man block on play side, and then they cut on the back side, so that if you do go down, then that back, as he starts play side, he has the cut back to the cut blocks back side. If that makes sense.
We get it.
No, it does. Yeah, I mean, they don't cut all up and down the line. They just cut on the back side or the side away from play side.
Rick Dennison took over as the offensive line coach when Gibbs left, and he is now on Jim Mora's staff at Atlanta. You know, it's an interesting thing here, because the league would contend in this particular case that this was a legal block.
See, here's what we're talking about. Here's play side here, and here's back side. So you're going to block straight up on play side, and you're going to cut on back side. See him cut right there, cut on back side. They didn't do that. That was a bootleg there. But the play side is the side that you run it to, and the back side is usually the cut back side.
What the league would contend in this situation, and it is in the rule book, if it happens in the tackle box, in other words, tackle to tackle, within 3 yards of the line of scrimmage, which it did, and it's front to front, they contend that's legal. 2nd down and 10. Plummer looks right, goes left, screen to Drones, trying to break one for the first time tonight, and close to a first down as Justin Smith makes the tackle. They're going to spot it very close to the stripe, and that's where they have to get the 40-yard line for the first down.
Yeah, we were talking about play side and backside, and the bootleg goes to the backside and how well they bootleg. But in order to bootleg, they have to get the running game going first. You know, where you're just running and running, and they can't stop the run, then they have to gang up on the run. Then when they gang up on the run, that's really when the bootleg and the end around work.
Measuring here, and they're going to be inches shy. So it's 3rd down and inches now at the 39-yard line. Cincinnati on top 7-0.
You know, we were talking about Mike Shanahan being a very aggressive play caller, and I think he showed it once already coming out of his own end zone, that pass to Ashley Lilly. He's been known to go play action pass and try and get a deep one in this situation also.
Mike, 4 victories shy of 100, trying to become one of the few coaches in history with 100 wins in his first 10 years. This is 10th season, and Plummer looking and then spinning and picking up the first down. He was stopped and was able to do a little spinorama move. And Jake, who's always been, that's why they call him the Snake, a good runner, an improvisational runner, picks up the first down.
Would you call that a spinorama?
Spinorama.
Watch him. That's exactly what it is. And that's why you love to have an athlete at quarterback position. And that's what he did. He started to the left. He went spinorama. Then when he comes out of spinorama, look what he finds. A first down.
It's an old hockey term. Remember hockey?
Yeah.
1st and 10 at the 40.
They used to play about this time of year.
They certainly did. Play fake, buys time, and that pass is dropped. And let's find out about that injury as we go to Michelle.
Yeah, what we do know, Al, is that Tony Williams is out for the night. It is a left ankle injury. That's all they know at this point. They've taken him back for x-rays. But as you may have seen when he left on the card, it was George Foster, the Denver Bronco, who threw that cut block, who came over to sort of pat him on the back and wish him well as he left the field, Al.
So Williams gone. There is Foster, and Langston Moore is the guy who will replace him. And that's why the crowd responded when Williams left the field. It's good to know it's the end. Yeah. Second down and 10 from the 42. Drones. And Ruben showing a little bit of what he's done over the past couple of weeks as he moves across the 50-yard line and spotted very close to a first down.
Yeah, as they took Tony Williams out of there, one of the interesting things about the stadium here is they have an MRI machine right here. And, you know, usually a player gets injured and they don't get the MRI until the next day or the day after that. Here, Tony Williams will go in and immediately be run through an MRI.
Whole health facility here as you look at what Drones has done. We talked about it before. And Bernie says good enough for the first down. Illustrating Drones, and we talked about it before. Fullback, special teamer. And as we said, when they traded Portis, it looked like they'd have Quentin Griffin, and he was the running back, but he injured his ankle. That gave Drones the opportunity. They lost Mike Anderson to a groin injury. He's gone for the year. They have a good-looking rookie named Tatum Bell, a possible future star, and Garrison Hurst, the longtime 49er, and Bengal is the other guy, and here is Drones. So if you made out a depth chart on July 1st, Drones was the #1 fullback and the #5 running back.
Right, and he just stayed with it. You know, we talked about how he runs downhill. Here's an example of a pitch, and that usually goes to the outside. Watch him get that pitch and immediately square his shoulders and run downhill. You say, what is downhill running? That's it, exactly right there. You square your shoulders and boom, you go straight downhill. Square shoulders, straight downhill. Anyone you see, run over him.
2nd and 3, waning seconds of the opening period. Drones again. And Drones picks up a first down at the 36-yard line, and Drones now in the opening period has carried the ball 7 times for 26 yards. Bengals on top 7-0 into the period, and Monday Night Football from Cincinnati resumes after this passage into words from our ABC stations.
Go on, do it. Come on. Make up your mind.
Try it.
Do it.
Do it.
What are you waiting for?
Come on. Come on.
Pick up the phone and order an exclusive premiere. It will be delivered straight to your home. Call your local TV Max number. TV Max, your home movie theater.
Call.
هل تقلق أحيانا حول ما يشاهده أطفالك في غيابك؟ تكنولوجيا أوربت المتقدمة توفر لك دورا فعالا في الإشراف على ما يشاهدونه بواسطة خيارات خدمة الإشراف العائلي المضاعفة الجديدة والمطورة التي تسمح لك بوضع قيود على ما يمكن مشاهدته على جميع قنوات أوربت والقنوات المفتوحة. ما عليك
Your home for great golf action all month long is ESPN.
The Fall Classic is here, and the road to success has been paved with disappointments and triumph. Now one last challenge stands in the way. Can anyone stop the Cardinals' offense? Is this the Red Sox team of destiny? Red Sox Cardinals Game 3 tonight live on ESPN.
Al Michaels, John Madden, Michelle Tafoya, Monday Night Football in Cincinnati for the first time since 1989. Good period for the Bengals. They lead 7-0. But the Denver Broncos will begin the second quarter in Cincinnati territory at the 36-yard line. First down and 10 on the drive that began at the 5-yard line. Their own 5, and Plummer trying to make it a 95-yard drive, but the pass is overthrown, intended for Ashley Lee. Good coverage on the play. 2 guys back there, and John Thornton that time put the pressure on Plummer.
Yeah, and that's the thing that the Bengals didn't get the last couple of weeks is pressure. That's the big thing, although they had good coverage downfield. I mean, Ashley Lee was double covered, but that's the thing. You have to get pressure from your four-man rush. They get it right up the middle, and I'll guarantee you any quarterback who's going to step into something like that, that's tough. That was John Thornton coming right on him.
And down one Jake, second down and 10 from the 36-yard line. Drones. One guy the Broncos are missing tonight, we should point out, Dwayne Carswell, tight end, key guy in the offense, 1-game suspension for violating the league's personal conduct policy after he pleaded guilty battery and altercation with his girlfriend. So as far as the tight ends are concerned, a lot of Jeb Poutsier, who's really come on this year, Patrick Hape as well, the two tight ends for Shanahan.
Right, Poutsier more of the pass receiver type, and Patrick Hape more of the blocking type tight end.
Third down and 5 now. Only 3 sacks against Plummer this season. And Jake out of the gun, quickly throws, the pass is deflected and incomplete. It'll be 4th down. So the drive began at the 5, key early 3rd down conversion. Remember, there was also the challenge, which Cincinnati won. And now Micah Noor will come in to hold Jason Elam, the longtime Bronco kicker, 49-yard attempt. He's missed only 1 field goal this year. They're trying to make it a 4-point game. On a windless night, the kick is no good. He's wide to the left. And that means taking over outside the 35 at the 39-yard line will be the Cincinnati Bengals when we come back.
تعاني من بطء الإنترنت؟ إذن فاستعد لسرعة جديدة تتجاوز حدود ما تخيلته ممكنا. أوربت ساتنت، إنترنت ثنائي الاتجاه عبر القمر الصناعي، توفر لك إنترنت مباشر وغير محدود، أسرع ب10 20 30 إلى 50 مرة من الإنترنت العادي حسب رغبتك. لا حاجة لخط أو لدفع فاتورة الهاتف، وبأسعار منافسة لاستخدام غير محدود. 24 ساعة في اليوم، 7 أيام في الأسبوع، مع دعم تقني على مدار الساعة. أوربت ساتنت، سرعة لا تصدق.
للمزيد من المعلومات اتصلوا بوكيل أوربت المحلي أو زوروا موقع الإنترنت www.orbitsatnet.com.
The first round of the Copa del Rey begins today. Real Madrid has not won Copa del Rey since way back in 1993. Last year, the Madrid Giants needed overtime to defeat Legañas 4-3 in the second round of Copa del Rey action. Don't miss it here on ESPN.
Before the snap, all kinds of action up front at the 39-yard line.
Ball start, 86 offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Tight end Tony Stewart. The Denver defense, look at that. Fewest points allowed, second in rush defense, first in passing yards, total yards, first downs per game, and then amazingly third from last in the league in takeaways. So they haven't been taking the ball away. In fact, they're -3 on the giveaway takeaway chart for the season, yet 5-1 because they've been so proficient in every other area defensively. First and 15, and Rudy Johnson gets 5. Of course, John, the key was that off-season trade where Mike Shanahan and his group knew we had to get a shutdown corner. They just got torched by Indianapolis in the playoff game. So Clinton Portis, who was going to possibly play out his option, said, hey, look, it's time for me to go. And Mike Shanahan said, well, maybe it is, and to get Champ Bailey.
Yeah, and then that really helped their defense. Larry Coyer was saying it's amazing how a cover corner can help your run defense.
2nd and 10. Going deep again is Johnson. And Chad Johnson again beats Champ Bailey.
I'll tell you one thing, this is very, very impressive because you think we got to stay away from Champ Bailey. They're just going after Champ Bailey. And not just going after him on short stuff, they're going after Champ Bailey on deep stuff. I think one of the things, he's looking into the backfield, and he doesn't even see Chad Johnson. And Chad Johnson makes very, very quick moves coming off the line. And boy, when you don't keep an eye on him, he is going to be by you.
And now Johnson, Rudy Johnson gets whacked, but he picks up 9. Kennedy knocks him down, but that came after a 50-yard catch by Chad Johnson, the second 50-yard catch of the night for him, and the crowd saluting Rudy.
I'll tell you one thing, the offensive line is doing a good job today in pass protection for Carson Palmer, because that's a big thing. To make these plays run, you have to do that. And then to come back and make holes like this in the running game, this offensive line thus far, the Bengals, has been dominating.
2nd and a short 2 from just inside the 3-yard line. Johnson again, and this time knifing through Reggie Hayward to knock them down. 3rd and about 2.5 upcoming.
You know, it's always easy to see when you fake and from up here, but if Carson Palmer would have bootlegged that, faked the handoff and bootleg out here to the left, he would have walked into the end zone on that one, because when the back started that way, the whole Denver defense went that way. Watch Carson Palmer after he hands off. You see, if he just keeps that ball and goes out there, there's no way that he doesn't walk in.
They put it at the 5. It was going to be 3rd down and 4, and you've got a flag now.
Substitution, 12 men in the huddle on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Bernie Kukar standing right there. They had 12 guys in the huddle. 2 were coming out, 1 coming in. Peter Warrick was the extra guy, and that's a big penalty.
And I can see why. Peter Warrick didn't even practice. We were here Saturday night at their practice, and he wasn't even suited up. He was limping around, and I'm just shocked to see him playing as much as he's playing tonight.
He's among the 11 in on this set. 3rd down and 9 now from the 10-yard line. Broncos showing blitz, and they're coming. And the pass has gotten away, and then it's picked off by Champ Bailey. How about that? So Bailey gets burned twice. Johnson already tonight with 116 yards in reception against Champ, and then Bailey says enough is enough.
Now you can only go to that reservoir so many times.
The Champ gets up from the canvas. Denver ball.
أجمل اللحظات الرياضية خلال نوفمبر على أوربت. الدوري السعودي له جاذبية قوية بين جميع عشاق كرة القدم. دوري كرة القدم الأمريكية يزداد منافسة مباراة بعد أخرى. حماس الدوري الهولندي لا يعرف الراحة. أفضل 8 لاعبي تنس يلتقون في الدور النهائي لبطولة الماسترز في هيوستن. الدوري الفرنسي يتجلى في أروع صوره. منتخبات أمريكا الجنوبية تتابع سعيها وراء حجز بطاقتها إلى كأس العالم 2006. نوفمبر على أوربت، عالم من الرياضة.
خد موقف يا أخي.
احنا مش لازم نعمل فيها ابطال.
يعني لما يكون في جريمة وفساد مش هطبطب على حد.
وانت مالك انت اللي هتغيري نظام الكون. دي معاملة علينا ولا ايه؟
مسلسل لقاء على الهواء طوال شهر رمضان، كل يوم في 12:30 بعد الظهر على قناة المسلسلات.
مباشرة من نيويورك.
This morning, Showdown. The next chapter in reality TV. What is after reality? More reality.
It involves suicide. It involves poison.
More trouble may be on the way. We have a rare interview.
Lots of political news this morning.
A new era, though, of space travel may be near.
اطلعوا على آخر الأخبار والتطورات. Good Morning America من الاثنين إلى الجمعة في 2 والأحد في 3 بعد الظهر بتوقيت الرياض على أمريكا بلس.
At 8:30 Eastern Time. We're in New York next week. Jets, Dolphins, ball at the 4-yard line after the Bailey interception, and Rod Smith makes the catch here, taken down by Torrey James. We go back to the interception, only the 3rd interception of the year for Denver.
Here's Champ Bailey right here, and we're going to get a slant by Chad Johnson. Now, Bailey's looking in, and he knows it's a blitz. So he's watching Carson Palmer. Then he looks at Chad Johnson, knows it's a slant, and he beats Johnson to the slant point.
So the Bengals have had drives stopped at the 5-yard line on downs and at the 3-yard line on an interception. And now Drones is going to pick up a 1st down. Meanwhile, John Lynch in the secondary for Denver, the former Tampa Bay Buck, mic'd up tonight.
You better not tell Champ to get going, man. It's not what you want. It's not what you want.
I'm led to believe after hearing that Johnson, with those 4 catches and the 2 50-yarders, must have said something to Bailey after those catches.
Well, you know, Chad Johnson enjoys playing football, and he talks all the time, so you know that he said something to Champ Bailey.
Yep.
You also know John Lynch heard it.
Yes, he did. 1st and 10. Plummer throws, caught up at the 30-yard line, and that's Rod Smith again. Torrey James making the catch, the steady and solid and consistent Rod Smith, been doing it for years.
You know, it's not only on 3rd down. You know, we talk about Jake Plummer's always looking for Rod Smith on 3rd down, but this guy just plays football. I mean, you know, you watch him, and he'll play special teams. If there's a fumble and someone picks it up, he'll go tackle the guy. I mean, he'll just do anything. In fact, the Broncos are one of 4 teams that only carry 2 quarterbacks. Rod Smith is their 3rd quarterback.
Danny Cannell is the backup. Tossed back to Drones after a 15-yard completion on the previous pass. Rod Smith, 10 years in the league, and went over 9,000 yards with that last catch, and figures to play a couple of more years. So how many guys have gained 9,000 yards in the history of the NFL? 31. So he keeps moving up that list. By the time he's done, he may be, 20th, in the teens. He's a guy, you don't think of Rod Smith as going into the Hall of Fame, but when it's all said and done, they'll have to look back and say that was a pretty good career.
Well, those are the kinds of guys that belong there. I mean, just real football players, hard workers, dedicated role models to the other players. That's Rod Smith.
2nd down and 10. Plummer over the middle. That is caught. That's going to be a 1st down. Ashley Lee, 3rd year out of Hawaii, stopped by Brian Simmons, and we go to the sidelines and Michelle.
Well, I spoke with Rod Smith yesterday, guys, and I asked him why he is so consistent with his workouts. For 10 seasons with the Denver Broncos, he has made 100% of his workouts. No other player in franchise history has been that consistent. I said, what drives you? And he said, well, I like to win. And I said, but every guy likes to win. Come on. And he said, but every other guy has more talent and athletic skill than I do. I have to be mentally sharper. I have to work harder. I have to leave it out there on every down now.
And he's done it. And here is Drones off and running. Drones with a flag down, gets to the 27-yard line, but there's a flag down at the line of scrimmage after what would have been a 30-yard run, but Bernie Kukar is saying, come on back, holding.
One of those things.
50 offense, 10-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Ben Hamilton.
And that was a hole. That was right where Reuben Drones ran the ball. He went right over Ben Hamilton on that left side. And we'll watch. Here's Ben Hamilton here. Here's Drones here. He's going to go. And this is the hole right there. You see, he starts to the outside. You see his right hand there? They get their left hand in the outside shoulder, and they bring their right hand to bring that guy out there. He's trying to create a hole. Push with your left hand, get the shoulders up, and then with your right hand, pull the guy out with you.
You know, with that angle blocking, it wasn't the umpire making that call. It was Kukar himself who threw the flag.
He had a pretty good shot. I mean, he had a pretty good angle to it.
He did. First and 20 from the 32-yard line. Plummer into coverage. Delta O'Neill picks it off, and the ex-Bronco is inside the 30 to the 24-yard line. So each number 24 with an interception.
Oh, Delta O'Neill better watch himself here. I mean, he's a little too excited, you know, playing against his old teammates. In fact, he threw the ball over towards their sideline. See, Delta O'Neill's playing a zone here. You redirect the guy in front of you, then you look back, you read the quarterback, you have that area of the field. They tried to get it in deep there. Delta O'Neill just kept dropping, and he got right in front of Ashley Lilly. And you don't do that until you get to the end zone, I wouldn't think.
So tonight, O'Neill's already run over Shanahan on a play when he went out of bounds and knocked Mike down. Then he picks one off. It's first down and 10 at the 24-yard line. Johnson, 20-yard line. Here's Michelle.
I talked to Delta O'Neill last night, Al. He still doesn't understand why Mike Shanahan got so down on him and let him go. Al Wilson told me Delta, after his Pro Bowl year in Denver, just wasn't the same guy. Had all the athletic skill, but didn't have the mental consistency. But Delta told me he wanted to come out here and do something special tonight, Al.
Delta O'Neill, he's had some memorable moments on Monday night for the Broncos. Second down and 6, and now one for the Bengals, and that is John Lynch. So when Tampa Bay cleaned house because of the salary cap, Sapp went to Oakland, Lynch was let go. He winds up in Denver, and he makes the play here.
And they really smelled that play out in their call, because John Lynch is going to come up. He's going to start back here, come all the way up, and then he's going to blitz off this corner. He showed them that he was back. They thought they could get that corner, and then he comes up in the blitz, and they run right into him.
He's been to the rodeo once or twice, the way he smelled that play. Third down and 11. Kenny Watson is in the backfield. He stays in to block, or tries to block, and they run right by him as Al Wilson gets into the backfield and knocks him down. So they brought Watson in, and they just steamrolled him.
Well, you can just see their defensive plan here, and Larry Coyer is they're going to blitz. I mean, usually you blitz a young quarterback anyway, but it seems like if the Broncos expect run, they're blitzing. If they expect pass, they're blitzing. They are going after Carson Palmer.
And you saw Marvin Lewis's reaction makes it a 53-yard field goal attempt here for Shane Graham. He has the accuracy and the distance. And Cincinnati extends its lead to 10-0 with 5.5 to the half.
مباشرة من نيويورك.
This morning, showdown.
The next chapter